For thousands of years, we thought we knew the answer. Slaves, whips, brute force. That is what they told us. That is what every textbook said, every documentary showed, every teacher taught. But in 1990, a construction worker's horse tripped over a wall in the Egyptian desert, and what they found underneath changed everything. Because the pyramids of Giza are not what you think they are. The people who built them are not who you think they were. And the secrets buried inside are still being discovered today. This is the real story of the Egyptian pyramids. And almost none of it is what you were taught in school. To understand the pyramids, you first need to understand who the Egyptians really were. Most people picture Egypt as a land of pharaohs and slaves, endless desert, cruel kings, suffering workers. But the reality was far more extraordinary. Ancient Egypt was one of the most advanced civilizations in human history. At its peak, Egypt controlled trade routes across 3 continents. Their mathematics was so precise that modern engineers still struggle to replicate their work. Their medicine was so advanced that some of their treatments are still used today. Their understanding of astronomy was so accurate that they could predict solar eclipses thousands of years before modern telescopes existed. These were not primitive people. These are not slaves, blindly following orders. These are engineers, architects, scientists, artists, and they were about to build something that would last 5,000 years. The Great Pyramid of Giza was built around 2560 BC. For over 3,800 years, it was the tallest structure on the entire planet. Let that sink in. Nothing built by human hands surpassed it until the Lincoln Cathedral was completed in 1311 AD. The numbers are almost impossible to comprehend. 2.3 million stone blocks, each one weighing between 2 and 80 tons. The entire structure weighs 6 million tons. It covers an area so large that you could fit the cathedrals of Florence, Milan, St. Peter's in Rome, and Westminster Abbey, all inside it. And here is the part that keeps engineers awake at night. The 4 sides of the Great Pyramid are aligned to true north, south, east, and west with an accuracy of 0.05 degrees. Modern GPS technology can barely match that precision. How do they do it? That question has never been fully answered. The more you study the pyramids, the more questions appear. Let's start with the math. The ratio of the pyramid's perimeter to its height equals exactly 2 pi. Pi, the mathematical constant that connects a circle's circumference to its diameter. The Egyptians were not supposed to know about pi. That discovery is credited to the Greeks centuries later, and yet it is baked into the dimensions of the Great Pyramid, intentionally or accidentally. Nobody knows. Then there is the alignment. The 3 pyramids of Giza, when viewed from above, mirror perfectly the 3 stars of Orion's belt, the same stars the Egyptians believed were the gateway to the afterlife. Coincidence? Then there's the inside, the Grand Gallery, the King's Chamber, the Queen's Chamber, all connected by shafts that point directly at specific stars in the night sky, at the exact positions those stars were in 4,500 years ago. This was not random. This was intentional. But why? And more importantly, how? For centuries, the accepted story was simple. Pharaoh Khufu forced hundreds of thousands of slaves to drag giant stones across the desert. It was brutal. It was cruel. And according to modern archaeology, it never happened. In 1990, a horse stumbled over a buried wall near the pyramids. Excavations revealed an entire lost city, bakeries, breweries, medical facilities, cemeteries. This was the city of the pyramid builders. And what the archaeologists found turned everything upside down. The workers were not slaves. They were paid laborers. They received wages. They received medical care. Their injuries were treated with advanced surgical techniques. Their skeletons showed healed bones, signs of proper nutrition, and evidence of a workforce that was respected, not enslaved. Even more surprising, graffiti was found on the stones, left by the work gangs themselves. One group called themselves the Friends of Khufu. Does that sound like a group of enslaved people? So if not slaves, then who built the pyramids? And more importantly, how? Theory 1. Organized labor. The evidence suggests a workforce of around 20,000 to 30,000 skilled workers, divided into teams, working in rotations, supported by a massive supply chain operation. Bread bakers, beer brewers, doctors, engineers, an entire civilization dedicated to one goal. But this still doesn't explain the precision. Theory 2. Advanced engineering we don't understand. Some researchers believe the Egyptians had techniques we still haven't figured out. One theory suggests they used wet sand to reduce friction and slide the massive stones. A painting found in a tomb actually shows workers pouring water in front of sledge. This would have reduced the friction by half. Theory 3. Internal ramps. French architect Jean-Pierre Houdin spent years building a computer model of the pyramid's construction. His conclusion? The Egyptians built an external ramp for the lower levels and an internal spiral ramp inside the pyramid for the upper levels, a ramp that may still exist inside the walls right now. And Theory 4, the one mainstream archaeology refuses to take seriously. The pyramids are older than we think, much older. Geological evidence suggests the Sphinx, which sits beside the pyramids, shows signs of water erosion. Deep water erosion. The last time Egypt had enough rainfall to cause that kind of erosion was over 10,000 years ago. If the Sphinx is 10,000 years old, what does that mean for the pyramids? Nobody wants to answer that question. The pyramids of Giza have stood for 4,500 years. They survived empires. They survived invasions. They survived the collapse of entire civilizations. And they still hold secrets we have not uncovered. In 2017, scientists using cosmic ray technology discovered a massive hidden chamber inside the Great Pyramid, a chamber nobody knew existed. After 4,500 years, the pyramids are still revealing their secrets, and the deeper we look, the more we realize how little we actually know. Maybe that is the real lesson of the Egyptian pyramids. The greatest achievements in history were not built by slaves following orders. They were built by human beings who believed in something greater than themselves, and they built it so well that 5,000 years later, we are still trying to figure out how. If this made you think, subscribe to The Forgotten Past, because history is never what they told you it was.